Peace, 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 and welcome to Rerootd Radio. This is the community for creatives committed to wellness and our ancestral roots. So if you are new, welcome. And find a seat, get cozy. If you are returning, thank you for staying rooted. My name is Kaylyn aka Kaylyn EYE. I'm the curator and host here at Rerootd, and I'm grateful that you're here. It's a special episode, which we'll get into, and it'll be short and sweet, but potent. So stay tuned. But as always, as you get settled wherever you are, whether you're mobile or you're taking a moment to listen, to sit down, to watch this, let's take a moment to pause. Today, just inviting us into grounding in gratitude. Let's just be thankful. Become aware of your breath right now. No need to close your eyes, and bring a sense of gratitude. We're about to step into the spring. So really, as you take your intentional breaths, what is one thing that you're grateful for in this moment? Something that already happened today, something that you're looking forward to. Maybe it's something that's physically in the room with you or someone. What are you genuinely, that's a strange word. What are you genuinely grateful for? Once you connect with that, taking a deep breath into that gratitude, into that sensation, and go ahead and let it out. I'm grateful for a peaceful home. I'm grateful for a clean home. Grateful for the sun that is beaming through this window right now. Yeah, grateful for the powerful conversations I had yesterday with friends that are really inspiring me, and just a moment to be with each other in community. So what are you grateful for? How you starting off? How you joining us today? Ashe. And just feels important to say, if it was hard to think of something or you didn't really feel authentic in that moment, just trust and affirm that it'll come to you. And may there always be something to be grateful for. You're breathing, you're listening to this, and you are blessed to be in this moment. With that, we are here. We are blessed. We are tapping in to the frequency of gratitude. Yeah, today felt really important to bring through some tools to share, so that wherever you are, we're going into our spring, which really, a spring, you think about something that, a spring that coils up and then launches. We've mentioned a few times on the podcast talking about the fire horse energy from the Chinese, the Chinese philosophy and spirituality, and really just cosmology, more so just in nature. Just there's a lot happening. So this episode is intended for just that. And the question that I'm moving with is, what are daily rituals to reconnect us to our clarity, our creative clarity? I was reading a parable of the sower, And the sequel after that is Rerootd The Talons by Octavia Butler. So that's the book. But inside the book, there is a mention of this book called Earthseed, Book of the Living. And it has all these verses that are inside of it. So yeah, I was reading this week, and one of the verses that Octavia Butler wrote really spoke to my heart and my spirit and what I'm going through at the time, at this time. And so I wanted to share that with you. So the Earthseed quote is, so it says, Earthseed, Book of the Living. These are the words of Octavia Butler. When vision fails, direction is lost. When direction is lost, purpose may be forgotten. When purpose is forgotten, emotion rules alone. When emotion rules alone, destruction. Taking a moment, letting that sink in. And I'll leave it in the show notes as well if anyone wants to look further or look into the book as well. But yeah, it was one of them I was reading before going to bed. That's usually when I read. But that was one of them. It stayed with me, traveled with me into the dream realm, and I woke up thinking about it. 'Cause yeah, I am definitely someone that has acknowledged and can acknowledge some symptoms, I would call them, of either ADHD or just neurodivergence in general. And part of that is getting excited about something, wanting to start something, and then getting distracted or never finishing a project, which I'm sure a lot of creatives can relate. But especially now in times, in these days, for me, it feels even more prevalent, at least in my community, in my circle of people, even just having a hard time finishing a book. So that this verse spoke to me just in the essence of how important it is to keep our vision, and a lot about focusing and self-discipline and all these words that I feel we hear them a lot, but we don't really get the tools to put those things into action, meeting us where we're at. It seems like for discipline, self-discipline, can be an intimidating word, but when we approach it from a creative lens, I feel like it can be less daunting. And so that is the vision today, on the vision of this episode, and inspired by Octavia Butler. So I hope and I trust that you will receive some wisdom. So I'm going to get into 7 practices, rituals that you can use to reconnect to your creative clarity in this time of the spring, when we're starting to build up energy, when people is outside, we outside, and it's going to be really easy to just wake up. The summer is over, we back in the fall, and it's like, dang, what was my vision though? So this is a moment to do just that. And I trust that these practices will help you. So let's get right into it. All right, so practice number 1 to reconnect with your creative clarity, your creative vision. Cleanse. Cleanse, cleanse consistently, seasonally, and intentionally. So I was going through my archives recently on Instagram, looking at all my old stories, for better or for worse. It was cool though. It brought up a lot of memories. I was scrolling looking for something specific, but you know how things go when you are going down memory lanes. I ended up going further than I needed to. Went all the way back to 2019, and I saw my first post that I made about doing my first cleanse. So I was 19 years old when I did my first cleanse, which I didn't realize and didn't occur to me. Um, and this is very, very on time because I'm currently on my last day, technically. Tomorrow I will be eating a full meal for the first time, at least some soup. So I look forward to it. But yeah, I'm currently at the tail end of a cleanse and I'm 26 years old now. So it was just really cool to see, like, this is something I've been doing for a while. And for me, it's become routine now. I try to do it at least once or twice a year. And I definitely didn't start off where I am now. I started off very small, in terms of like intermittent fasting or going 1 day to 2 days, to 3 days, and so on and so forth. But the power of cleansing is so important because just by nature, when you release things, there is now space for something else, for better or for worse. So when we're cleansing physically, we are getting rid of the toxins, giving our body time to recoup. When we're not focusing on digestion so much, so if you're doing a liquid detox or cleanse, for example, then that helps our body rejuvenate and focus on other things because your energy is literally not going to, excuse my French, but pooping out your food every day. So now your body can focus on other things. So that's just like one natural basic level that it helps with. But on a mental and spiritual level and emotional, it really, when I did it when I was 19, and the reason why I've done it every year now, um, is because I never felt such a level of clarity without any substance per se or any like external thing. It was completely the opposite. I let go of taking in too much, whether it was food or sugar and anything that's not in alignment with the cleanse. And yeah, just the level of peace, the level of, I would have a thought, know exactly what to do next, didn't have as much brain fog or clutter. And so that was just really eye-opening to me of the power of why so many lineages and ancestry and just people that have been in history lay out these practices. Because to me, it's beyond religion. It's just really a human practice to reconnect with ourselves and our spirit. So that clearly I can go on, but that's number one. And yeah, I really, without even overwhelming people, it doesn't have to be about food. It could also be social media. It could be sugar. It could be taking a break from reading. So any of those things are valid ways to cleanse and just take a step and recoup yourself. So yeah, I really dove into that one, but that's one I'm really passionate about, clearly. The last thing I'll say about cleanse is it doesn't have to be, like a full on to start out. Like in the morning, simply making sure that you give yourself space to digest and, taking a few hours just to drink some tea instead of going straight to food. And then in the morning, going straight to your creative practice. This might be foreign for a lot of people, but I have found some of my best ideas or workflows and really in the zone when I'm in a fasting state or in, before I take in any food or especially before I take in any content or engaging socially with the world. So that's number one, cleanse. Number two, we're going to incorporate some of our guest speakers throughout this season. So we have featured 4 guest speakers this season in the Rerootd Renaissance. And we had amazing conversation. Just plugging this here. If you have not heard them, definitely go back and tune in. But we'll have some quotes next, so you'll be able to hear some highlights. So number 2 is from Danny Fluker Jr. He joined us a few weeks ago, and amazing author, wellness practitioner with yoga, meditation, and yeah, just overall amazing being. So Danny's tip and advice that he gave at the end of the episode is to practice prioritizing your wellness as a way to clear your creative channel. He said, my wellness clears the channel for my creativity. I really, really just loved that part that he left us with, because it allows us to see the relationship between our creativity and call it self-care, call it your wellness. But yeah, when we start to find that our creativity is getting a little stagnant, or we're not feeling as inspired, um, we're just feeling distracted even, and can't really finish a project, that is a time to return to our wellness, whether that's for you going out into nature, maybe it's talking to your people, checking in on your family. For me, it's definitely practicing my embodiment practices like yoga, putting my feet in some grass, and yeah, just doing things that bring you peace of mind. And I know a lot of times it can be counterintuitive, like you just want to break through whatever's writer's block or thing you're going through. But that really might be a time that your mind, your body, or your spirit are just asking for something that they need. Yeah, even as I'm saying this, I'm like, ooh, take my own advice, child. So I am not preaching by any means. I'm taking notes. So yeah, so one example of that is morning pages. That's something that I love. That is a wellness practice in the morning that has really supported me. And there's so many wellness modalities. I really just encourage you to choose one, try it out. If you like it, stick with it. If you don't like it, try another one. YouTube University, ask a friend, what do they practice? What's their wellness practice? It's actually a really good icebreaker and get to know you, and that would be helpful. All right. I'm trying not to spend too much time on each of these, y'all, so stay with me. I'm working on how to actually give a list without giving a whole sermon. So number three, we had our guest speaker, my good brother Adekunle K. Rufai. And K is, I don't even want to try to name all the things this man does, but K is an artist at heart. I actually found out that he was originally a hip hop artist, and now he is multi-hyphenate artist that dedicates his work into Smiling Boys and Smiling Girls program for Black youth, and yeah, bringing art and mental health to youth throughout the world, really. So his quote was, create from your soul, not from what the world is asking you to produce. The practice that he was really getting us to look at is to create from our essence, from deep within us, and not from a place where we're looking for validation, basically. To let your art be your spiritual practice. And I know this one is, not as practical per se, or tangible, but really this one for me calls us into a place of reflection. So maybe it is taking a moment to journal, and really ask yourself, like, what is my art doing for my spirit? I actually got to attend a beautiful artist retreat. We had the poet Asia Monet, and she came and gave a keynote. And one key thing that she told all the artists there was that you all need to write an artist manifesto. And the manifesto is just a document that you create that is kind of your, like, imagine how businesses kind of have their mission statement and XYZ. So this, as an artist, would be your, like, this is who I am. These are my non-negotiables. This is what I stand for. This is what I'm not willing to compromise, really. Um, yeah. And that was a beautiful practice to do for myself. And it's something that I took her words very much seriously. And yeah, I did that practice for the first time, and it was cool. It just helped me understand what's important to me as a creative. And it also helps you know how to collaborate with people. So that's number 3, is to create from your soul, not for validation. Number 4, Raishad Momar, my good brother, filmmaker, journalist, EFI practitioner, and my beloved good friend. Raishad left us with some wisdom around witnessing, and his quote is, "You have to actually witness before you speak, not just react." And this is helping us to remember the importance of slowing down, observing before we reply, and really to tell the truth as artists, no matter what medium we have, to tell the truth with deep care. But that all starts with witnessing. And yeah, we're just taking a moment to pause before we get into any creation. And this was just a powerful way to get us to understand what it's like to take a step back. Because truly, I do believe all artists are witness, in the same way that I think all people and humans are artists. Because when we are creating and moving through whatever we're taking from the unseen into the physical world, or from something that you can't hear into sound, yeah, we are alchemizing energy, and that takes us to be able to witness our community, our culture, our language, the emotions, everything in the human experience, so that we can really bring it to life. And back to the previous one about creating from your soul, so that we can create something that helps people and heals, and really is something that's greater than ourselves. Um, Something that I like that connects to this in terms of being a witness, a tangible thing, is kind of like just taking a moment to observe someone else in their craft. I love seeing people perform for the first time. This is just something that, yeah, since a young age, every time I get to see someone at an open mic or just anything, when they're all like nervous and their voice is cracking, and it's just something that I just know what that moment feels like. And it reminds me of just how sacred art is, because that moment is so special for every artist, no matter what your art form is, that first sharing of your gift. And yeah, just this witnessing that can be done when you are watching someone else do their art form. So I had the experience last year of the blessing to sit in the studio with Mick Jenkins, who is one of my childhood favorite rappers. And it was a moment where he was sharing a studio kind of story about him and Smino, and how he basically like would go to Smino's studio sessions and just sit and watch. And there was like a thing I won't go into detail about, where, Smino was like, "Why are you just coming and sit and watch my sessions?" And Mick Jenkins was basically like, "I'm just inspired. Like, you really just seeing how you do your craft, even though it's very different than how I approach. Um, it just really inspires me." And yeah, of course they have made a lot of music now. Um, But yeah, I thought that was just really one, just humble and honest, that to know that there's so much inspiration we can get from each other, and being upfront about that. Like, hey, can I just come through and see you paint, or can I just, I'm sure there'll be somebody that would be down. All right, we got three more. Three more. So, number five. Number five, we had the beautiful being Moreau Halliburton. Moreau is another filmmaker, but multi-hyphenated artist that actually film is most recent for them. They're a crafter, they are a drummer, and yeah, really can't begin to explain all the hats that they wear. But beautiful episode. It was the last episode we had, so definitely go back and listen to that. So Moreau's quote was, "Working with your hands, it brings you back to yourself and the people." So this is a reminder that practice here to get back to our creative clarity is to work with our hands and get back to a place of, one, childhood play, inner child reconnection. It's funny because I was on a walk the other day, and yesterday actually. But yeah, I was on a walk and just like, wow, I need to do something with my hands, because I had been staring at the screen all day, sending emails on work interviews, and just my brain was just a brain fried. And yeah, I was like, I need to do something with my hands, like in the garden or something. So yeah, it is something that, one, I think our bodies just naturally crave once in a while, just to get out of the technology world. Um, and Moreau was really driving it home how crafting, whether it's doing something like making some art from your hands, drumming, anything that involves you getting your hands engaged as a way to connect with community, and the people that have come before us. So shout out to Moreau. I think that's a powerful tool for us. So yeah, do something with your hands, especially if that's not your typical art form. Connected to that, number six, just step outside your normal art form. Or if you're not an artist, just step outside your typical routine. And that, to me, looks like going to a workshop. Whether it's pottery, I've done like a pottery workshop before that I had a lot of fun in. I go to some dance workshops. They have a lot. Yeah, if you just look up stuff in your local area, like dance workshops or anything, oftentimes you can't find free ones. And this is just an easy way to break what you usually do and try something new. Last but not least, number seven, take a breath with me. No phone. Oh, I know. It's your best friend. But truly, if you are in a season where you are looking for some creative clarity, I have seen the fruits of taking a break from the phone. And this is the same thing as the cleansing. It doesn't mean just dive in and no phone for a whole week. It's not what I'm saying. But in the morning, if the phone is the first thing that you go to and we're scrolling through social media, yada, 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 that all, if you imagine like I don't know, I don't know if that thing is called Plinko or whatever on Jeopardy. This might be a terrible analogy. But I was just imagining like a ball that's falling down a little Plinko thing. And as soon as it hits something, and it gets knocked the other way. Better analogy is kind of like that old game. Dang, I can't even think of what that's called. The arcade game where you like press the buttons and it keeps hitting the ball. I'm blanking right now. Also showing my age. I did not grow up in that generation. But anyway, So yeah, it completely redirects your attention. So you might wake up feeling really good. Let's say you had a beautiful dream. You was dreaming about a bunch of donuts, or I don't know what your like benevolent fantasies are, but you woke up from that dream feeling good, you got a smile on your face, and then bang, you open your phone and you just find out something that the leader of, supposed to be the leader of the free world, posted on Twitter, and now your whole mood is shut down. So that's just one example, but anything could be on that phone, even if it's just a text message. So one practice that I embody and has significantly helped me, not even just in my art, but just as a human being and living in 2020, etc. I don't go on my phone for at least the first hour to 2 hours that I'm awake. And I know sometimes 2 hours can be a luxury, but minimum 30 minutes to an hour if you can. But whatever it is, if the first thing that you're meeting in the morning is not something that is throwing stuff at you, like technology, as opposed to something that you arrive to that allows you to gently wake up, allows you to process. So this is where the morning pages come in. Maybe it's making yourself some tea. Maybe it's going on a nice morning walk. Um, Whatever that is, just this is a moment for you to really give yourself that love and that care of holding space for yourself. It's almost like if you was with somebody, like if you was even with a friend or a lover, or whoever, and the first thing, like as soon as you see them, you just pull up a phone and put it in front of your face. That's basically what you're doing, what we're doing to ourselves in the morning, as opposed to saying, "Good morning, how are you? How you feeling? What did you dream about?" So I feel like whatever our self-care practices are in the morning, that's our version of checking in and saying good morning to ourselves. So as an artist, that's critical, because if we're creating anything, we really need to be able to know where we're creating from. And hopefully, ideally, that's from a place of wellness. All right. Wow. What time are we at? Okay. Wow. I talked way longer than I anticipated. But with this sunshine in my face, I truly, truly trust that something that you heard was beneficial, and stuck with you. Again, take what sticks, leave the rest. Um, yeah, only take what resonates. What what do you feel called to practice next? What was one thing you heard and you're like, oh, I gotta try that. Go, go with that. Last thing before we close out, if you are in LA, join us for our first in-person Rerootd Spring Community Kickback. This is a seasonal offering as we step into the spring. So the equinox is on Friday, and we'll be gathering on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. In Inglewood at Edward Benton Park. If you want to RSVP, you could check the show notes, check the bio, and the link will be there. Would love to see y'all there. If we have any community listening in Inglewood or in the LA area. If you are not, if you are national, if you are international, wherever you are in the world, first of all, thank you for tuning in, and make sure that you join the email list so that you can hear about virtual events. We are starting to do them more regularly now, so I would love to see just the community we have at large in our virtual containers. Last things, check the show notes for anything that I mentioned. So the Octavia Butler, et cetera, that'll all be in there. Join the email list so you can get a new free breathwork track. So I'm really excited. I'm finally finding a way to bring together my loves and my passions and my gifts of music and my wellness practice, my yoga practice. So that has one iteration of that is this breathwork track, and what I've been working on. So I'm excited to share that exclusively with the Rerootd community first. We had our first settle session almost a month ago now, and got some really good feedback on the people that got to hear the track and practice it. It's a simple 5-minute practice. I use it before I go to bed. I use it when I get home from work. It's just a nice, easy reset for you to use on your own time. So join the email list and you will get that free track. And yeah, this is it. I decided right before recording this is the last episode of this season. So I thank you for tuning in. Really means a lot. And yeah, I really just can feel the community and the collective consciousness growing just from the people that we had featured. If you didn't get to listen to any of the episodes or miss some, definitely go back while we're away. But we're still always there. And yeah, I believe that is it. If any quote stood out to you, go listen to that episode. Everyone has some wisdom. Yeah. Where I am to wherever you are, thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a blessed spring. Remember to stay grounded and in gratitude. And as always, stay rooted. Peace.